Today's topic is disorders of respiratory system. Okay, students. So various disorders. The first one is to be discussed is asthma. What is the causative agent of asthma and what are the symptoms? Let's discuss now. Okay. In asthma, there is a trigger mechanism. First of all, the cause is a trigger. What is a trigger? Any causative agent which may cause the asthmatic response is called as a trigger mechanism. This trigger mechanism is a cause. It can be in the form of the trigger, can be in the form of number one, any allergen. What is an allergen? A substance which causes the allergy in the human being is called as the allergen. The allergen may cause the asthma. That is number one trigger. Allergen is substance which causes the exaggerated immune response in the human being and which may lead to the asthma is called as the allergen. Exaggerated immune response. What is the exaggerated? That is over. Exaggerated means more than normal and abnormal immune response because the entry of allergen into the human body, that is called as the exaggerated immune response. So the trigger can be in the form of allergen. What is an allergen example? It can be pollen, it can be dust mites, dust particles, dust mites. It can be in the form of agricultural particles like seeds, pesticides, insecticides, fertilizers, etc. Okay, students. So agriculture, agrochemicals, it can be. It can be animal dander. What is the animal dander? It can be bird feathers, bird fecal matter, or the feathers of the birds. Isn't it? All these is even cow dung, horse dung, any animal particle is called as a dander. Okay, it can be, some people are allergic to dander also, animal dander. Next one is, it can be in the form of number two, or etc. here, anything. It's not countless, many of things are there. If few people are allergic to this one and few people are allergic to this one like this here, we can't write all the allergens, isn't it? So next one is medications. If people who are chronic to a certain disease or ailments, may be taking some long-term exposure to medicines, they may cause the allergic symptoms. Medication, long-term medication also, many side effects. As a side effect, it may cause the allergen. Okay, and it may cause to the disease called as asthma here. So sometimes medications also may lead to the exaggerated immune response because of which there is an asthma here. Okay, students, that is medications. Next one is exercise. Exercise means here very strenuous exercise. That is heavy exercise here, not ordinary exercise. By the athletes may cause asthma. That is also maybe acting as a trigger mechanism. Okay, students. Next one is, it may be in the form of anything here, even genetic based. Genetic based asthmas are there here. Or hereditary, that is genetic based hereditary here. That is, if the parents are having asthma, their children may be having, or grandparents, their grandchildren may be having here. So it is also a gene based disease. So there are many reasons out there here, isn't it? Even the most important thing which is identified is a stress. Stress or anxiety may also lead to asthma. So all the reasons need not be, per patient may be having all the reasons or a combination of different reasons, but these may be acting as a trigger mechanism for causing of the asthma here. So whichever the trigger mechanism may be, for example, allergen. Let's take an example of an allergen. Here, pollen. A person who is allergic to pollen, it is treated as which one? An antigen. A foreign body is called as antigen. It's entering the human body. That is, a patient who is allergic to an antigen called as pollen. If it is entering, a normal patient do not show the asthmatic symptoms. But an asthmatic patient who is allergic to pollen, for example, then what happens? The immune system of the patient is activated. Immune system is activated. In the person who is allergic to which one? pollen. Here we are taking the example of pollen. If the immune system is activated, there is an exaggerated immune response. Example, if a terrorist is crossing the India-Pakistan borders and entering into India, all the defense personnel, paramilitary, isn't it? All these people are activated to kill these terrorists, isn't it? In the same way, the terrorist here called as pollen is entering the human body. So all the defense mechanisms, immune system is activated. And activation, for example, of mast cells. Present areolar tissue, mast cells are activated. When the mast cells are activated, the mast cells releases the histamine. Histamine is an inflammatory mediator. Histamine is released by the mast cells because the entry of the, example, pollen. Because that's an antigen here. So directly the histamine is not activated here because the immune system is activated, means here the most important mechanism is going on here, that is activation of the IgE antibody. When the immune system is activated, before the activation of these mast cells, IgE is an antibody or immunoglobulin. Antibody or immunoglobulin. Why the antibody is produced? Because antigen is entering the human body. As a result, antibody called as IgE antibody is activated. The IgE antibody, when activated, it activates the mast cells and other cells called as lymphocytes, etc. For example, if the mast cells are activated, it releases the histamine. The histamine then is a vasodilator. Vasodilator. What is meant by dilation? Dilation means expansion. Dilation means expansion. Opposite of this one is a constriction. Constriction means narrowing. For example, this is a normal one. Dilator means which one? It becomes expanded like this here. If it is a constrictor, this is a normal one. This is a M, write it L. Dilator means expansion here like this. And this is a dilator D. And if it is a constrictor, it becomes narrow here like this. This is a normal one. It becomes narrow like this here. And if it is expanded, that is dilation, the diameter becomes expanded like this. This is the normal one, dilation, and this is the normal one, constriction here like this, narrowing. So this vasodilator, the blood vessel is dilated because of the histamine. Okay, students. Then because of the histamine, what happens? Let's discuss now. So trachea, bronchi, then lungs, okay, enters here like this, Bronchi, primary, secondary, tertiary, then bronchioles. The bronchi, for example, this is the bronchi. I'm launching very larger bronchi, okay. The bronchus here consists of, the walls consist of these smooth muscles. For example, these are the smooth muscles. Smooth muscles are present in the walls of the bronchi as well as the bronchioles because they are the involuntary muscles, isn't it? What is the function of muscle? They contract and relax. But because of the histamine, there is a sustained, continuous contraction of these smooth muscles. Smooth muscles, they continuously contract. Smooth muscles, they continuously contract, and this is called as a spasm. Okay, students. Because of the spasm, this is a normal, isn't it? This is a normal diameter. Because of the unrestrained, continuous smooth muscle contraction called as spasm, this normal diameter becomes like this here. It becomes like this. See here. It becomes constricted here. This is called as a bronchoconstriction. Bronchoconstriction. What is constriction? I told you, narrowing. Narrowing is called as constriction. This is normal dilation, normal constriction here. So bronchoconstriction means narrowing of the bronchi and bronchioles because of the histamine. So because of the histamine, there is a spasm because of the spasm, there is a bronchoconstriction. So this becomes like this, narrow. And furthermore, the histamine also causes which one? Inflammation. The histamine also causes the inflammation. What is inflammation? Inflammation is characterized by swelling. There is a swelling here. Next, number 1. Number 2 is redness is there. Pain and burning sensation. Pain and burning sensation here. So these are the symptoms of any inflammation. One is swelling is there, redness is there in that area, pain and burning sensation is there. These are symptoms of inflammation caused by the histamine here. So this vessel becomes which one? Already it is constricted. That is number 1. Already it is constricted. That is bronchoconstriction. Furthermore, it has to get inflamed. So this one is becoming which one? Inflamed. See here. This one becoming inflamed here. Because of the swelling here. This is a swelling, isn't it? For example, this is a swelling. See here. Next one, number 3 is because of the histamine, there is a third one called as the goblet cells are stimulated. Goblet cells, which is secrete the mucus more than normal. Actually, mucus secreting goblet cells are present in the bronchi. Normal stimulation in the normal production of the mucus, phlegm. But here, because of the histamine, an abnormal stimulation is there because the immune system is activated. More mucus is secreted by the goblet cells. More mucus production. Here called as mucus edema. Mucus edema here. Edema means swelling. So here, see here how much heat is going on here. For this patient, you see here, all of you watch. See here, because this is a mucus production. See here, this is a mucus. Mucus production here. See here how complicated it is. Already it is constricted. And furthermore, it is inflamed, number 2. And now, mucus edema, mucus swelling is there. Phlegm accumulation. Then actually there is a bronchi. Oxygen must be entering here to the bronchi. Carbon dioxide must be going out to the bronchi. But this is traffic jam. When there is a traffic jam on the roads, can you go to the college? No. Severe traffic congestion is there. The same way, this is the respiratory passage. It is congested totally. Respiratory congestion, because of which there is a severe impairment to the exchange of gases. Oxygen cannot be taken freely and carbon dioxide cannot be given out freely here. Impairment, severe impairment to the exchange of gases occur here. You see here for this patient, how much heck is this? See here. So what are the symptoms of this one? Now let's discuss the symptoms. Basing on this mechanism, one is severe impairment to the exchange of gases. Severe impairment to exchange of respiratory gases. Oxygen cannot be taken freely and carbon dioxide cannot be given out freely. There is an obstruction. Because of this obstruction, some whistle sound come here. Like this. This whistle sound is called as, what is that? Wheezing. Whistle sound is called as a wheezing happens. Because there is an obstruction now. That's why whistling sound called as a wheezing happens here. And because oxygen cannot be supplied normally, isn't it? Because oxygen is not supplied to the cells here. For normal metabolism, oxygen, there is a severe deficiency of oxygen to the cells called as a hypoxemia. Hypoxemia. What is hypoxemia? Severe deficiency of oxygen to the cells. The normal metabolism is also obstructed here. Hypoxemia. Then number 4. Respiratory acidosis. Respiratory acidosis. See here, the carbon dioxide is present in the blood. It has to get transported via this bronchi, respiratory passages to the alveoli where it is gone here, isn't it? So here from alveoli is there. These respiratory passages are obstructed actually. The carbon dioxide is severely obstructed to go outside during exhalation. So the carbon dioxide keeps on accumulating in the blood. When the carbon dioxide is accumulated in the blood, it mixes with the water content of blood plasma. It forms a carbonic acid, H2CO3, and then it again splits into which one? H plus plus HCO3 minus ions. When the H plus ions, hydrogen ions are accumulated in the human blood, what happens? It leads to the decrease of pH, severe acidosis, called as respiratory acidosis. The pH is now lessened. Severe acidic condition in the body. So even very, very dangerous, isn't it? So that should be actually carbon dioxide should be released out. But here there is a respiratory acidosis here, because of which what happens? Severe accumulation of the acidity here, acidity problem here. Okay, students. And this is one manifestation. And next one is, let's discuss. Number 5. Because here phlegm is accumulated and there is a congestion, as a result what happens? Chest heaviness. Chest heaviness. That is another symptom. Nasal congestion. Nasal congestion. That is nose get obstructed and watery eyes. Severe coughing. Severe coughing. And mucus, phlegm will come out after coughing. It may come out or sometimes may not come out. Okay, it depends on the patient. Watery eyes. Watery eyes. See here how much dangerous it is. So these are the symptoms of asthma. This is a trigger mechanism, various reasons, manifestations, mechanisms where the asthma is manifested. Because of these manifestations, these are the symptoms here. So what's the problem here? Bronchoconstriction is a problem. Bronchoconstriction. Narrowing of the bronchi. So what is the solution? Bronchodilation. If it is like this, it should be expanded like this here. Come back to the normal position. So the treatment of the asthma patient includes the tablets here, where the bronchodilator is given here. For the expansion of the bronchi, bronchodilator is given. For example, a tablet called as Edrol. Edrol is a tablet which is acting as a bronchodilator here. Okay, that is about the asthma bachon here. Given in NCERT, all of you know. Take a screenshot of this one. Take a screenshot. And second one is bronchitis. Actually, people treat asthma and bronchitis are same, but there is a difference. Many differences are there. Bronchitis, the causative agent can be infection in the form of virus, or any allergen also sometimes, or even air pollution can cause, or it is also sometimes genetic based. So whatever the reason may be, here also trigger mechanism. Because of the trigger mechanism, there is a severe accumulation of phlegm, sputum, mucus in the respiratory passages here, bronchi. The bronchi, here the severe accumulation of which one? The phlegm. And if the patient coughs now, the greenish yellowish mass comes out in the form of phlegm or mucus here, sputum, isn't it? So severe coughing is manifested in bronchitis. So that's all about the bronchitis. Okay, students. Itis means here, always remember, that's an inflammation. Itis means inflammation. Sinusitis, rhinitis, arthritis. Itis means inflammation. Okay, students. So inflammation of bronchi, because of which various symptoms are manifested, is called as bronchitis. Clear, students? So next one is emphysema. This is given in NCERT. Bronchitis is not given. Emphysema is given here. All of you listen carefully. Here also trigger mechanism, bacho. Trigger mechanism in the form of, for example, a pollutant. In NCERT, the chief cause of emphysema is given as smoking. Smoking is a chief cause of emphysema, or in the form of an air pollutant also. Air pollutant or any reason here, etc. Whichever the trigger mechanism may be. What happens means when the trigger mechanism smoking, excessive smoking and passive smoking is even more dangerous. If a person is severely exposed, chronically exposed to the smoke may enter the respiratory passages and destroy the alveoli. You know that alveoli are present. For example, I'm drawing here. Okay, this is the respiratory bronchiole. What is this? Respiratory bronchiole. The respiratory bronchiole leads to which one? Alveolar ducts. Alveolar duct here. This is the alveolar duct. Alveolar duct leads to the alveolar sac. This is the alveolar sac here. For example, this is the alveolar sac. Sac means a bag-like structure where numerous alveoli are present here. These are the alveoli, for example. These are the alveoli. They are like bunch of grapes. I told you already, isn't it? I am drawing only a few alveoli here. They are bunch of grapes here present in the sac called as alveolar sac. So these are normal exchange of gases occur in the normal patient. But because of the recurrent smoking, these valves become coalesced here. Like this, the destruction. See here. Many alveoli here, their valves are destroyed. As a result, there is a coalescence of the alveoli. Okay, there is a coalescence of the valves here, like this. So instead of many smaller alveoli, they become bigger but fewer alveoli. That is, many smaller alveoli, many small alveoli to which one? Bigger, fewer alveoli. That is number one. Number two is there is an accumulation of fibrous tissue. The fibrous tissue gets accumulated. If the fibrous tissue gets accumulated and proliferated, what is proliferation? Increase of number is called as proliferation. So if the fibrous tissue is accumulated and proliferated in the alveoli and lungs, there is a destruction of the elasticity. Destruction of elasticity. Elasticity of lungs. So because of the destruction of elasticity of lungs and accumulation of fibrous tissue and bigger and fewer alveoli, the respiratory surface is decreased here. The respiratory surface where the exchange of gases occur is severely hampered, severely decreased. So there is an impairment to the exchange of gases. And that is called as emphysema, where the many smaller alveoli become bigger, fewer alveoli, fibrous tissue accumulated, and the lungs loses the elasticity nature. If so, there is a decrease of the respiratory surface, So there is a severe impairment to the exchange of gases. That is called as the emphysema here. Cigarette smoking is the main reason for emphysema, but show clear, students. Next one is pneumonia. Let's discuss about pneumonia. Fourth disorder here, pneumonia. I told you that asthma plus bronchitis plus emphysema comes under COPDs, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders. Asthma, bronchitis, emphysema comes under chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders. It's important for you. Okay, students. All of you noted? Okay. So next one is pneumonia. Let's discuss. Pneumonia, what is a trigger mechanism? The trigger can be, the causative agent can be in the form of virus or even bacteria. If it is bacteria, it can be Pneumococcus pneumoniae. Pneumococcus pneumoniae, or it's called as Streptococcus pneumoniae. Pneumococcus pneumoniae is a bacteria, or Streptococcus pneumoniae may cause pneumonia, or different types of viruses can cause pneumonia, or even fungi. Different types of fungi can cause pneumonia. Even protozoan parasites, protozoans. Even mycoplasmas can cause pneumonia. So there are, based on the different causative agents, there are different types of pneumonia. Not is a single type, but here many different types of pneumonia are present here. And whatever the reason may be, pneumonia is a lung disorder. It's a lung disorder, bachon. Lung disorder. Here, there is a severe accumulation of fluid in the alveoli. There is a severe accumulation of fluid in the alveoli. For example, this is the alveolus. It gets accumulated with the fluid. This is the alveolus. It gets accumulated with the fluid like this here. Actually, what is alveoli? Where the exchange of gases, respiratory gases occur here. But there is an accumulation of which one? Fluid. And that is, so because of this one, there is a severe impairment, obstruction to the normal exchange of respiratory gases. Oxygen is not properly supplied to the cells for metabolism in pneumonia. Okay, students, in the severe cases, the patient may die also here. And pneumonia is occurring, if it is occurring in the children or old age people above 65 years of age, it is even more dangerous. Now, how to prevent means there is a pneumonia vaccine, which is the prevention of this disease here. Okay, students, that is about the pneumonia. Okay, students, next one is the occupational respiratory disorders. This is given in NCERT, bacho. What are the different occupational respiratory disorders? So, number 5, occupational respiratory disorders. What is occupation? A few people who are working in the mine, metallurgy, construction, tunneling, excavation works are more prone to the certain particles. The normal public are not exposed to such dust. Only the people who are working in the so-and-so occupations, or there is a chance that they will get exposed to the dust. And such disorders are called as occupational respiratory disorders. Now let's discuss a few examples of this one. Number 1, black lung disease. Black lung disease. A person who is regularly exposed to the coal dust, who is working in the coal mine industry, there are every chances that he gets recurrently exposed to the coal dust. As a result, he gets severe inhalation of the coal dust. Coal dust is accumulated in the lungs. Coal dust is accumulated in the lungs, and that is called as a black lung disease. Okay, students. Number 2, silicosis. A person who is exposed to the silica dust. Where is silica dust present? In the construction workers, quarries, stone crushing industries, stone grinding industries, isn't it? And also construction workers, tunneling workers, mining industries. There are chances that these people get recurrently exposed to the silica dust. And the silica dust is inhaled recurrently, means they may damage the lungs, and that manifestation is called as the silicosis. Next one is sidrosis. Hemosidrosis, and hyperferemia. All these are the manifestations if a person is exposed regularly to the iron particle dust. That is, if the person who is working in so mining or metallurgy or certain factories, there is a chance that this person is recurrently exposed to the iron particles. Iron particles are inhaled and damages the lungs. Such a disease is called as sidrosis, and a different variant of this sidrosis is called as hemosidrosis, and other type of sidrosis is called as hyperferemia. This is even more dangerous here because iron particles are inhaled and damages the respiratory tract and the lungs, destruction of the alveoli. So there is a severe impairment to the exchange of gases in these disorders. What is more dangerous means the lungs loses the elasticity. The elasticity is losing and there is an accumulation of fibrous tissue. There is an accumulation of the fibrous tissue. If the fibrous tissue is accumulated and multiplied, that is proliferated and increase in number, the disease is called as a fibrosis. Given in NCERT, very important point. Fibrosis means the process of proliferation of the fibrous tissue in these conditions is called as a fibrosis. So fibrosis is seen in all the diseases, such diseases, occupational respiratory disorders. Fibrosis is seen. If the fibers are accumulated, the lungs loses the elasticity and there is a severity in the impairment of the exchange of gases here. So there is in the severe cases, there may be some respiratory failures also, and which may lead to the fatal. That is, may lead to the death also here. So these are disorders of respiratory system. But all of you, hope you enjoyed my session. That's all for today.